pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening. Mark the meeting open at 7:04 p.m. Hi, Benito. All right. All right, move on to item number 3, public comment. Is there any public comments? Is there any public comments? Hearing no public comment, we'll move on to item number 4, approve minutes of the September 17, 2019 regular meeting. Can I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion by Anne Marie, second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 6-0-1, and please note Bob's abstention. Item number 5, First Selectmen's report. I attended a mass casualty incident tabletop exercise with our first responders. Exercise went very well, and our first responders did an exceptional job, as always, being prepared and with their responses. We'll be holding another live exercise in the next few weeks for continued practice. We are not releasing where and when with regards to this drill. It will be a surprise for our first responders. So they will get the call and they will respond accordingly. In other drills, we've told them that it's going to be an active shooter drill at Chatfield or Prestes, so they've been able to prep and prepare. This time, we're just going to call it in, and they're going to respond from their points of origin, and we'll see how that goes. Police union contract negotiations are ongoing. I expect to have updates in the next few weeks for this board to review. Met with the towns of Ansonia and Derby to explore the potential of regionalization. We're in the process of reviewing the needs of each community and their strengths and weaknesses to determine what opportunities, if any, may be available. We would be targeting a 7/1/2020 start for some of these changes to take place. I'll begin the process of the fiscal year 21 budget in the next few weeks. As we have in past years, we'll be holding an off-site planning meeting in early December with the senior staff and key financial vendors. This meeting has been extremely beneficial to our long-term planning. I'll provide more updates as we firm things up. In conjunction with the Valley Independent Sentinel, I'll be holding a live event to discuss the community center project. This event will begin with a short presentation, followed by a moderated discussion and question and answer period with Eugene Driscoll. The event will be held next Tuesday, October 8th at 8 p.m. This will lead into the town meeting, which will be held the following week, as we know, on October 15th. And then I'll be attending a senior citizen luncheon being held at the end of the month. So those will be the 4 places that we will get information out. So with that, I'll close my first selectmen's report. We'll move on to item number 6, discussion with Fire Marshal Tim Willis. Mr. Willis? Just want to talk into the mic so that way they can hear you at home. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm really up close. Wow. I feel like I'm lecturing with all of you sitting
Yeah,
here.
you are very tight today.
Good evening, guys. Thank you for having me here. I had reached out to First Selectman Miller about a month ago via email saying just where we were at in the new office, and he said, well, I think it would be best for you to come and speak with the board and kind of give some updates. So I have now, as you're aware, I've been in the office for well over 10 years. It's hard to believe, but I've been in the capacity of fire marshal for 6 months as of this week. We really, the first month I was just trying to keep my head above water, some administrative changes, things of that nature, just trying to get a feel for things. We did at that point hire Deputy Fire Marshal Rockwell. A little bit of training, even though he's well versed, very, very competent and amazing. But we really didn't get up and running to where I wanted to be until July, which was actually ahead of where I had hoped. So that was a positive. I do have some notes, if you excuse me. I just want to glance down. So over the past really 90 days or so, it appears that we've gotten about 31% of all residential inspections done, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's really my goal to be hitting what the state mandates is 100%. I hate to say it, but that's unrealistic. There isn't a community in this state that is even remotely close. I want to put us close. I know we'll never be at 100% because no one ever will be, but we're going to be as close as possible to do that. So again, we find apartments all the time. These numbers kind of move, so I'm not a fan of stats, as many of you have heard me say before, because we can all make stats say whatever we want them to. So, but just know that we are hitting the strides that I've been looking forward to. On top of residential inspections, we've performed over 70 initial inspections over the past 3 months, which doesn't sound like that much with 2 staff members, but that's just the initial inspection. That's not the re-inspections of those properties. Very often you're going to the same property 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So to have 70 new inspections over that time period and be getting back, the numbers are really staggering. I hate to brag, but that's what I'm here for. And it's not just me. It's Deputy Fire Marshal Rockwell, who's really doing a phenomenal job. One of the things we're going to be focusing on over the next few months is facilities in town with commercial cooking. Places that have liquor licenses are required to call us and have us inspect them. But those are the ones we always get to. There's some that don't have liquor licenses that are behind, just like anything else. We're really making a push because that's where fires occur and that's where we can keep people safe. So that's one of the big pushes that we're making. Obviously focusing on re-inspections because our numbers are up, so the better you do, the more follow-up you're rewarded with. So that's okay. We're getting out there. We're doing well with that. I do want to speak just briefly, and I know I've already said it, but Deputy Fire Marshal Rockwell, he came with 30 years of experience. He's phenomenal. I'm not going to talk about him too much. I know he wasn't invited here, but I just want to let you know I'm learning from him every day, and we really are working as a team. So thank you for making that decision with his appointment earlier. Just real briefly, and I promise I won't be too much longer, but I wanted to talk about some short-term goals of the office and some long-term goals that we have. As far as short-term goals, we are looking, and I had spoke about this last year with the Board of Finance, upgrading software. We haven't had an upgrade to our software since 2008. We actually haven't even had any maintenance on the system. We stopped paying for it 5 years ago. So it's been costing us nothing, but we also haven't been getting out of it what we could. So we've reached out to one vendor so far. We've looked at it. It is a substantial upfront cost. I'd be lying if I told you the cost in 2008. I think it was in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. They did quote us with a very reasonable price that isn't much higher than that with an ongoing cost. This would allow us to work with our calendars, schedule re-inspections for us to help move us forward. It's really about creating productivity and getting us back to places. So that is a short-term goal that we're working on. And part of that comes along with the next goal is improving our relationship with the fire department. Although we're one entity, we're also 2 separate departments, as you're well aware. So thank you to Deputy Fire Marshal Rockwell. He's been doing great with that. I tend to believe I've always had a good relationship with them, but we're really pushing that. Part of that is also with our software. We want to make sure that whatever software we get is compatible with what they're using. They're also looking for new vendors for their software, so we want to make sure whatever we move to, if it's not the same, it's at least compatible. Believe it or not, a lot of these competitors, their software does jive with each other so they can communicate, but we want to make sure the town gets the best product and we can work with them. Obviously, I mentioned it earlier, we're improving inspections, but short-term goals, I want to keep up with that and not just provide quantity, because at the end of the day, quantity really doesn't matter. It's quality. So I want to push forward with that, and then try to get our volunteers to volunteer a little more. We do have members that are certified in the office. We sponsored them to be certified. It cost us nothing, but we did stick our necks out to get them certified. We're trying to come up with ways to encourage them that won't cost the town, but will at least help us with some return. Also, and no one ever likes hearing this, but for short-term goals, we are going to be looking for a new vehicle. We've put it in our budget in the past for capital for the future. Unfortunately, as you're all well aware, every department is fighting for different pieces of the pie, and it's expensive, but it is something moving forward. Maintenance costs are starting to get a little absorbent on our existing older vehicle, which is 11 years old. Think about your personal vehicles. An 11-year-old vehicle is getting to its lifespan, and now think that we're using it for emergency responses, and it idles a lot, and it doesn't leave town that much. So it is a bit of a rough use, but we are trying to make that last as long as we can. I promise I'll be quick with my last ones. I'm sorry. Just on some long-term goals. Ideally in the future, we'd love, even if we can work with sharing maybe the floater, we're looking for some clerical assistance. Originally, when I first took this position 6 months ago, my thought was If we could get another paid staff member, even for 4 hours a week or 8 hours a week to do inspections, it would be great. I'm starting to look now if I could spend less time doing clerical type things and more time doing what I get paid to do. I think we could improve that and not have to find someone as highly skilled as someone certified as a fire marshal. So that would be a long-term goal, would be to increase clerical staffing or receive some clerical staffing. Just the two other little things that I wanted to comment on. It's going to come up later, but the interlocal agreement, which I reached out for your assistance back in April for, has now been signed, thank you, with the assistance of town council, by 6 of the 7 communities. There is one brand new fire marshal who's still legging his way through things, that community. But we look to be completely up and running with those communities in the very, very near future. As you'll see on your agenda, there's some appointments later on for fire investigators, but the fire marshals in the local communities are looking to help us, and it will cost us nothing to bring them in if we need assistance at a bigger incident. The last thing I'd like to add is you're always welcome to give us a call if you'd like to see what we do day to day, rather than me stand here and speak about it. Please feel free. We just ask schedule a day, but we can take you out on inspections, go see what we do day to day. So I'd like to offer up any questions. Please let me know, and we can go from there.
Anybody, questions?
I'm sure you probably heard about what happened in Naugatuck last week with the blasting.
Only in passing. I really never even read a news story, but I am aware that there was an incident with some fly rock through blasting, yes.
Okay. In your time so far, has anybody approached you for a blasting permit?
Yes, currently we have 2 blasting permits out. One at 600 Derby Avenue, which is the Haynes Materials Company. It is a quarry operation. They actually blasted yesterday for the first time in about 6 weeks. They roughly shoot anywhere from 15 to 18 days. That's about their window, what they've been shooting. Yesterday, unfortunately, and I know you're well versed in your field, complaints come. I don't have to lecture you on the scientific side of things, but they were well under regulations. Their peak particle velocity was under 0.5 at the highest, and it was a higher frequency. So, and we also have another project in town on George Street where I issued a blasting permit last week. They thought they were done. They do have to do a small shot. I believe it's a utility shot just to bring in some stuff on the backside of their project.
Okay. And do you do things on a job-by-job basis as far as requirements? Do you have anything on the books as far as what Seymour requires to give a permit?
We do not have anything additional ordinance-wise in addition to what the state has. Every single shot every single blasting permit issued does require that seismic results are forwarded to me as soon as possible. We don't put an actual timeline because every job is different, as you're well aware. Sometimes 12 hours is reasonable. Sometimes 5 or 6 days may be reasonable. That's high end, but it depends on what was going on. So for the most part, for example, the shot that was yesterday, I had results in about 4.5 hours, which is what I look for. I always push for pre-blast surveys. Unfortunately, again, as you're well aware, there's only some things that can be done.
What do you mean by push for?
Additional distance to go farther out.
Yeah, but you require abutting properties at a minimum?
Yes, of course. But I'd love to see 500 feet in every direction.
Let's not get crazy. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were familiar with
Yes.
how the process goes. Good. Excellent.
Any other questions? Trish?
I do not have a question, but I cannot let Tim go without saying how elated I am again that you're in this position. Your professionalism, ability to work, not just your leadership, but still able to work as a team member, and enthusiasm. I'm in awe every time I see you. I had an opportunity to go into Tim's office and see how it was rearranged and what he's done to organize things there, and I see good things for us coming out of the office with you leading that up. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I couldn't do it without the support of this board and the other boards, so thank you. And Deputy Fire Marshal Rockwell.
I just had one question on you mentioned you were looking to upgrade your software. Are you working with the town IT department? Are you on your own trying to research it? How are you?
We have had conversations with them. It's kind of a niche business geared towards the fire side. There's really only a few vendors in the entire country that deal with it. So don't get me wrong, there are choices, but you're really kind of pigeonholed. I have been in mild talks with them. They're going to review anything before any decision.
Yeah, just making sure from an operating system standpoint.
Of course,
Right.
of course. Before any decisions are made, we did have a vendor come in and we really, really liked it. But upon speaking with other users of that program, we kind of saw some things we didn't like, or hear some things that we didn't like from them. So that's not to say we may not ultimately end up with that vendor in the future, but we want some things to be worked out.
Everybody good? And just to type a few things, I asked Fire Marshal Willis to bring up a few of these points, particularly with the capital. These are things that we're going to be looking for maybe as early as next year. The vehicle and the software upgrades are built into the later years of the capital plan. The software is something that we may be able to squeeze in, just depending because of its size, but I wanted him to bring up the clerical assistance, because obviously adding a position is never an easy thing. No one likes it when it's dropped on them last minute, but I wanted him to present it in the context of the improvements that they've made in the office, how the volume of work is constantly increasing, what that value would be. So I just wanted the board to be aware of it, because again, that's something we may look at as early as next fiscal year if it were to work out, so.
Are floaters usable?
Potentially, yep.
And will that directly impact, you feel like, the inspection renewal process and all that? If you had the clerical assistance, you're looking at it as the place where it helps you to grow?
Absolutely. 6 months ago, I would have said no. After having sat in the other chair and looked at it a little differently, we can get someone with minimal training. I mean, clerical training, not to take away from that whatsoever, but someone who isn't well-versed in fire code, it now frees me up. Much of my week is spent writing reports, mailing letters, calling people, and just trying to schedule things. If we could have someone, even for perhaps a few hours a week initially, it really could lighten that load and put me into a better place to be doing what they're all paying me to do.
Is anything else? No? Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then for our next person that'll come in, actually IT Director Rob Dyer will be in the second meeting in November to kind of go everything, so that'll be the next person. Okay. Okay, item number 7, discussion take possible action regarding Valley Fire School resolution. So you have a resolution before us. This is the exact same resolution that the city of Derby and the city of Ansonia will be presenting to their boards of aldermen. So the goal would be to have all 3 communities pass that, and hopefully Shelton as well, and then present all 4 communities together to the governor's office. So I'll read this into the record. Excuse me. Whereas fire training for our volunteer firefighters is necessary for them to safely and properly respond to calls under all conditions in order to protect members of the public experiencing danger, distress, and tragedy. And whereas the Valley Fire Chiefs Regional Training School is a worthy, necessary, and important investment for the safety of the residents of the town of Seymour and for the safety of the public living in the entire southwestern Connecticut region. And whereas the establishment of a permanent location for the Valley Fire Chiefs Regional Training School is necessary to provide professional, technical, affordable, convenient, and varied courses for our volunteer firefighters. And whereas a fire training school is necessary to maintain, train, and draw new volunteers to not only protect the public, but to keep the essential service of volunteer firefighting in place for the town of Seymour and the entire southwestern Connecticut region. And whereas the state of Connecticut has invested over $2 million for the purchase of land, geological and soil testing, and architectural renderings for a new Valley Fire Chiefs Regional Training School in Beacon Falls. And whereas the bid process for construction of the school has been completed for a second time, and whereas funding for the school is required through approval by the State of Connecticut Bonding Commission, now therefore be it resolved that the Seymour Board of Selectmen supports the construction and permanent establishment of the Valley Fire Chiefs Regional Training School at the proposed location in the town of Beacon Falls in order to ensure the proper emergency response training for our volunteer firefighters to protect the public safety for not only the people of the town of Seymour, but the entire southwestern Connecticut region. Be it further resolved that the Seymour Board of Selectmen support the placing of the funding for the school on the next State of Connecticut Bond Commission's agenda and recommends that the bonding commission approve the funding as soon as possible so that the Valley Fire Chiefs Regional Training School may be permanently located in the town of Beacon Falls in the immediate future. Dated at Seymour, Connecticut, and adopted by the Board of Selectmen on this first day of October 2019. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Rob, second by Bob. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question.
Sure.
Where do they currently go now?
They're kind of scattered all over, to be quite honest. A little in Shelton. They do some stuff in Seymour. There's no real home per se. So, this is something that, quite honestly, shouldn't be a problem. When the governor was running, he came to Derby and made a commitment to provide the funding for the fire school. And that is yet to happen. And there's just been reason after reason why he hasn't done that. Bonding agenda is controlled 100% by the governor. So if it's on, it passes. So this is just to say that the towns all approve it and want it, and it's something that should be done.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
anything else? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much, everyone. Item number 8, discussion and take possible action regarding 38 Nichols Street Blight Fine. Benito, how are you? Come on up. All right, so just as a, just kind of bring everybody back up to speed, we had the issue with the blight fine at 38 Nichols Street. Property was purchased, work was started. We've given him some timeframes to work within, which he's met pretty much every single one of our requests. The last visit, we were waiting for the certificate of occupancy. He had to finish some things on the inside. His goal was to have it for October 1st. My understanding is your appointment is tomorrow? Is that correct?
With the building department, yeah.
With the building inspector. So, we still wanted to have him come in, let you guys ask any questions that you may have, let him provide an update, and then we can kind of take it from there. So if you want to just give a quick update where everything stands, and then the board may have some questions, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Oh, just state your name and address again for the
Oh.
record, Benito. So,
my name is Benito Urgeles, and my address is 22 Oakley Street, New Haven, Connecticut. The house is 38 Nichols Street. Basically, the house is done. Just waiting. It was my fault. I took my time to get an appointment for the inspector, for the inspection. I have updated I have pictures for it's done the house, so you guys want to look at it?
yeah, if you want to just start them with Stefan, everybody can take a look.
I'm proud of what I did, and just want to say thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to work with you guys and help me until now. And
Feel pretty comfortable, any open punch list items? Or
I'm sorry?
You feel pretty comfortable, any open punch list items, anything? that
Yeah,
would be-
no, I'm comfortable. Yeah.
No reason to think that you won't get the occupancy certificate tomorrow.
Oh, no. I did a couple times before, so I don't. Basically, so the last time I talked to the inspection, he came to the house and everything was okay. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Good job. Thank you for
Yeah,
working
thank
with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jim Baldwin is aware of, obviously, the situation, what's going on. And he hasn't come to rear eye with any pressing concerns, to be honest with you. I think he's been happy with what Benito's done, kept up with the timelines and everything else. So, at this point, until we have the certificate of occupancy, until he has the certificate of occupancy, I think that we just take no action. And we wait until our October 15th meeting. We can add it back to the agenda. No need for you to come. Once you get that certificate of occupancy, at that point, what it comes down to is the selectmen need to make a decision with regard to the blight fine that is currently there. I mean, that's on the books. As you know, we froze it at the spot that it was at, so we need to have a discussion as to what we'd want to do with that fine, how we'd want to address it. Keep it, reduce it, what have you. So we'll make that, we'll have that discussion and certainly let you know. But obviously, the most important thing was that the house was addressed, the blight situation was fixed, not your blight situation was created by someone else. You just purchased the house.
Yes.
But we're pleased that this, now nice house. I mean, the outside looks beautiful. You did a great job.
Inside looks beautiful.
Quickly looking at the pictures, looks great. So, I mean, I think that's the whole goal of the Blight program, is to take these old beat-up houses and in need of work and turn them into, nice homes that people can live in. Hopefully you'll be staying in the house and we'll have you as a resident
No,
of
I'm
Seymour. Nah, you want to leave New Haven. Come on, it's much nicer here.
My wife was trying to move to. She works in McDonald's. She's a store manager.
Yeah.
Clinton, but the owner was going to purchase the McDonald's here. I guess didn't went through, so she's not coming here.
Oh, okay. So if she's in Clinton, yeah, you want to make that drive every day. So,
Yeah, no.
but listen, we appreciate you keeping to your word and staying on top of it, and getting this all taken care of. So, any last thoughts, comments?
I just don't want you stressing too much. Your blight fine is not gonna be in the thousands. Don't go home and stress, because I can already see it in your face. You did
Well-
you complied with what we requested. You were within time frame. You purchased it as a blighted property, so just take a breath. You'll just hear back from us in a couple weeks.
Well, I didn't know it was a blight on the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Purchase, so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mika. All right, so Rick, can you make a note, add that for the 15th? And then Rich will have some discussions beforehand to make sure we're all prepared. All right, perfect. All right, item number 9, discussion take possible action regarding New England Mountain Bike Association agreements. Okay, so, as you know, this has been on our agenda for quite some time. Rich has been working with Kevin Condon in the town of Oxford to get this organized, but we wanted to, at least on Seymour's end, get our ducks all in a row. So, Rich, if you want to give us an update, and then we'll kind of go from there.
We've had a presentation, we did some research, we received documents and other things from the New England Mountain Bike Association. We've talked to Kevin Condon a number of times involving Seymour and Oxford getting together to do an agreement. But rather than wait for that to come together, so that these folks can get going, we decided to draft an agreement so they can start on the Seymour side. So this is a revocable license agreement for the Seymour portion of the Keith Mitchell Preserve, and they're required to put up insurance to insure their activities on that property. So what I would ask you to do, at least so we can get the Seymour side going, is a motion to approve the revocable license agreement and to authorize Kurt as the first selectman to enter into it.
All right, so questions?
I have one. Beat you.
Is your microphone on? Because maybe he beat you.
Maybe.
We all heard me. I have a loud voice. What is the town, once they get the insurance, is there any part of the town that could be held liable at all? I support this, but where's the town's culpability?
The town could always get sued for any activity that occurs on town property. There are a variety of immunities and defenses that towns and municipalities have available, as well as insurance coverage, I might add. And, the town has been sued before for recreational use on town property. And as I say, there are defenses and immunities, and there's governmental immunity. But I can't tell you with a crystal ball that something's not going to happen and you won't get sued.
So rephrase, will you share your legal opinion on if this is a good idea or not? I support providing some type of recreation for youth or people who have hobbies, but I want to make sure that the town that we're okay doing that truly. You get my question.
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, you face exposure anytime you open up town property for any type of use. You have to decide if you're comfortable with mountain biking and trail building as a I don't want to call it passive recreation because it's a little bit more than that. And they're going to do some trail building and clearing, but that's a decision you folks have to make. I will tell you, in this instance, what's a little different is they're going to provide an insurance certificate, and we're going to require that the town of Seymour be named as a co-insured. So you, in effect, probably have more coverage and a little bit more protection than,
The skate park.
yeah,
This
exactly.
is a perfect
Right, I mean,
example.
that's a
Perfect.
example of it.
Perfect example, Bob, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Thank you for what it's worth. Okay.
All right, then my question would be, okay, so we enter into this, and we're still waiting for agreements for parts that are not in Seymour.
so, yeah, let me just jump to that. So you have an Oxford component on this, and as far as I can tell, there has been, they're behind us
Okay.
on this. They're not, in concept, they're in agreement, but they haven't gotten to where we are on this. You passed a resolution, if you recall, probably about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. I drew it up and,
In the summer, yeah.
to support it, yeah, based on all the information we had. They're not there yet. They're getting there. And if you recall, part of the presentation, there was also some deep controlled state property that I think was supposed to tie into this. And that hasn't, I don't know where they are with that. I can imagine how long that's going to take. So, I mean, you have a decision to make. If you want to give them the go-ahead to start on the Seymour side, you can do that now. Or you can say,
And that's what this would do. If we
That's
do
what
this
this
and
would
we give Kurt the power,
Yep.
they would then be able to do whatever they have, even if Oxford never goes and it just
Yeah.
ends up ending there.
yeah,
Now, my other question would be, let's say we move forward with this, which I'm in agreement. I love the idea of giving people more access to the place for activities like this. And then the association, for whatever reason, dissolves within 3 years.
you could revoke it. You could revoke the license. It's a revocable license. You didn't give them a lease. You didn't give them an easement. It's the least bit of permission you can give to someone to do an activity, a permitted activity. So that's why it's created in that fashion.
Okay.
That's,
And then so they dissolve in 3 years, and now what is created trails, which then won't be
Mm.
managed, somebody goes out there and hurts themselves, now that's fully on the town. Okay.
If we leave them open.
yeah, but as I say, there are various defenses, too, to everything, and you have to kind of weigh that. You might decide, for example, a slightly overgrown trail poses less exposure in the long run when you weigh that versus other activities that we allow on town property. You know, but as I say, there are defenses, and during my tenure, I don't recall Seymour or the insurance carrier paying out on any claims having to do with recreational activity. I don't recall that. So that should give you some thought about how often these things occur.
Do we know if they would, given the green light at tonight's meeting, would they start with shovels tomorrow?
I don't know. I'd have to defer to Kurt and Rory on that. I haven't had much direct contact with
I
them
don't
after
think it
the
would be
initial.
that quick, but I think they would want to get going. Yeah.
Okay, so they're not going to wait for the deep properties and Oxford properties to all be set for them to do it. Would they be happy with just doing Seymour? Because what I'm wondering is, we have this already. Do we just wait till all the ducks are in a row and then say yes to it? Is there any huge benefit to doing it right now? Might be for them, and that might be a goodwill thing on our part.
If you recall, the two people from the speaking, Joe Lanier, who's a teacher at Oxford High School, I believe he's an Oxford resident on the Conservation Commission. When I mentioned that, we could consider moving forward unilaterally, he said that's great, and that'll help me to push Oxford.
Okay, so it would be a benefit to them to have us already set where they could break ground and start doing that. Gotcha.
Now, they already have trails, correct?
There's already some trails up there, yeah.
Trails that they
Yeah.
have.
So, from some of my conversations with Kevin Condon, I believe there are trails in Oxford, and I'm not sure there's ever been any formal permission given or anything else with respect to those trails. I think that's sort of the story.
I mean, First Selectman Temple is supportive of this. To Rich's point, I think they just haven't got through all the mechanics of, to where we are, but, because we've had a few conversations, and he likes the idea. So, but I don't want to speak for, let George can speak for himself on that, so. What else? Any other questions, comments? Everybody's okay? All right, so at that point, then, I will entertain a motion to approve the revocable license agreement between the Town of Seymour and the Housatonic Valley Chapter of the New England Mountain Bike Association as presented by Town Council, and giving me the authority to sign off on any paperwork once approved by Town Council.
So moved.
Motion by Stefan, second by Rob. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Rich. Might as well hold on to the mic.
I am.
Item number 10, discussion take possible action regarding Ordinance 15-13C, Manufacturer's Tax Exemption. All right, so this brings us back to the Scribner's error, as we discussed at the last meeting. We wanted to hold this off until today's meeting, so Rich, any additional updates?
Yes, they have in fact filed the personal property declaration and the 2016 Grand List Manufacturing, Machinery, and Equipment Exemption Claim Form. And I would just like to have a motion from this board, which I think is required by the ordinance, to accept the filing by Portador. Let me give you the exact name, Portador Company, Inc.
Would someone like to make that motion? Motion by Anne Marie, second by Al. Any further discussion or questions? This will put this to bed finally. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Rory, can we make sure that we contact Peter tomorrow? And let him know. All right, item number 11, discussion take possible action regarding human resource rules and regulations. Okay, as you know, we had this presented by Human Resource Director Pelosi. We kind of went through it. Everyone's had a chance to review it. I know that Trish had some specific questions, and it's my understanding that that Chris reached out, had the conversation with you, made the changes. Stefan, same with you. So those concerns are reflected in this document. The only thing that's really left at this point is just Rich and Warren working with Chris to clean up a little bit of extra language. So Rich, I don't know if you want to add anything, because if not, then what I'm going to ask for is a motion to approve the document once final sign-off has been completed by Rich and Warren. So let's start with questions and comments first, and then we'll go from there. Anything? Anybody? Everybody's comfortable? Rich, anything you need to add?
No, we made a number of suggested changes in addition to the ones that you folks had. We agreed with the ones that you recommended as well. And at this point, we've got we think, a finalized document. We just subject to a little bit of proofreading. A couple spots, instead of human resources, it said human relations. We corrected those. I think we picked all those up.
Yeah.
And I think we have a final document. So I think a motion to approve is in order.
Wow, that was nice. I like that. Motion by Stefan, second by Al. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. So once the final draft is completed, which I expect we'll have maybe tomorrow or Thursday, Roy will shoot a copy to everyone, so that way you have it for your final. Stefan will be like a going away gift for you and your.
Can't wait.
That's right. Well, that's right, one last one, so. All right, item number 12, appointments. All right, so at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointments dated October 1st, 2019 as presented. Motion by Anne Marie, second by Bob. Under discussion, the fire investigators, those are the fire marshals of the towns that we've entered into agreements with. Each town will be appointing all the fire marshals, so that way they're actually a part of their hierarchy. So if there's no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Item number 13, tax refunds and abatements. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the tax collector's report dated, I believe that's 9/27, and kind of cut off at the top, as presented by Sue Bolin in our tax office. Motion by Trish, second by Anne Marie. Just under discussion?
Can I see someone's copy real quick? Because I do not have one.
No? Oh,
I
okay.
just want to make sure there's
Yep.
no copy. Thank you.
Everybody's good? You want to give it a once over?
Yeah.
Okay, no rush. Good?
Yep.
Okay, everybody's good?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 7-0. Item number 14 is transfers. We have no transfers before us. Item number 15 is correspondence. We have the check register. We have a letter from the Seymour Oxford Food Bank, which I want to read into the record because it's thanking some of our employees who I think deserve it. It says, "Dear Mr. Miller, we'd like to give a big thank you to Alex and Tom for taking care of us during the whole process of adding air conditioning to the Seymour Oxford Food Bank from beginning to end. With the summer heat, the unit has been most appreciated. It not only keeps our volunteers cool, but it helps preserve the fresh produce and breads that we receive as donations. Clients are also enjoying coming in from the heat to a cool environment to shop. Again, thank you for everyone's efforts in creating a comfortable area for both the volunteers and clients of the food bank with air conditioning. We all appreciate it," and it's signed off by Tony Cassidy, who runs the Seymour Oxford Food Bank. So that's kudos to Alex and Tom for taking care of that. And then the tree warden was placed on administrative leave. I asked town council to write an opinion with regards to what potential next steps the board can and should be taking, depending on the outcome of a pending investigation. And I wanted the board just to be made aware of that, so you can read. If anyone has any questions with regards to that, please let me know, because as you know, we don't comment on personnel issues in public.
I just want to direct folks to page 3, the top of page 3, that paragraph that starts with "in Seymour presently." That's the key paragraph to keep an eye on. I've read this quickly. I think that helps understand everything. It's kind of summarizes everything Rich has done, in my opinion. So keep an eye on that paragraph.
Thank you, Val.
Yep.
All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 16, public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comments? Hearing no public comment, we'll close that, and we'll move on to item number 17, Selectmen's public comments. Wow, he's pulling the mic in. He's not taking this month off.
No, just quickly, just thank you again to Tim Willis for coming, giving a great report, and I just want to say thank you to Chris Pelosi, who reached out to me within a day or two of our previous meeting and talked through all the changes that I had asked for and got those incorporated. So I just wanted to acknowledge both those guys for good follow-through. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Stefan. Rob?
I'm all set.
Hold on, I was getting that. Al?
Nothing.
Oh, you guys are killing me. Anne Marie?
A couple things.
Going too fast.
So this past weekend, I took part in the Mission 22 walk. It was a veteran suicide prevention, to bring awareness to it, that took place in Naugatuck. Wow, Naugatuck closed down basically their downtown area at Water Street. The hike was 13 kilometers. A lot of people took place in this walk. There was a lot of vendors there. And I'm happy to say that in June, can I say it?
You can say, go ahead.
The weekend of June 5th and 6th, Seymour will be doing 22 hours for 22. We'll be walking 22 hours straight to bring awareness for Mission 22 for the veterans' suicide awareness. I'm going to be looking for board members too. They want to get on this committee and help with it.
Where's
And
that going to take place?
the high school.
What we're going to do is we're going to have teams. So a team will be made up of 22 people. Each person will walk an hour. And then I've committed to walking the entire 22 hours straight.
That's what I did, Stefan.
I mean, I will take a break like every 3 hours to have something to eat.
With
and
a
go to the
weighted
bathroom.
vest?
I'll believe
No,
it when I see
I'm
it.
just going to walk.
I might go there for the whole
No,
22
no
hours.
offense. The money is not on you finishing that, you know that, right?
Well, the goal is to,
Don't know
the
it.
goal is to raise 22,000, so we're going to sell hour blocks to walk. So, yeah, I'll make a bet with everyone on this board that I will walk the full 22 hours.
I'll bet you
I'll put
$20.
my,
Thank you, Alex.
How much?
What did you say, Stefan?
We'll see. I'll think about it.
Okay,
I'll take some of that.
I'll take some
I'll
out.
take some of that bet.
All right, good.
So I'm hoping to get the Father Club involved so they can sell food up there.
All right, I'll go
Maybe
out
some of the
swinging for money.
proceeds go to Mission 22, as well as getting the high school students involved with their clubs, because it will be going on while school is going on, not during school, but while school is in session. I'm hoping to bring this to general awareness to Seymour as well, and hopefully encompass the Valley in it, so we can make it broader and bring more awareness of it. It was amazing to hear that it just doesn't, we think of these veterans when they're in there serving, but what about their jobs afterwards and how it affects their family and what it does to them. So I just wanted to bring that, so everybody keep the weekend of June 5th and 6th open.
Bring your
Also,
checkbooks.
bring your checkbooks. Just good luck to those running in the the pounding of the pavement this weekend. Good luck to those girls and guys that are running this weekend.
It is this weekend.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Anne Marie. So there's that. Public Works has been out preparing the course. I'm running it, well, I'm a part of the Seymour Pinks team for the Marine Corps Marathon. I'm not doing the marathon, I'm just doing the 10K. And we had a barbecue on Sunday, and the Demings were very appreciative of Public Works, what they've done so far to get the course prepared. And they wanted to pass along to this board as well their thanks for the support that they've always gotten from the boards of selectmen over the last 10 years or so, and they're very appreciative of that. So Mrs. Deming asked if I could pass that along to this group, so.
Yeah, no, just looking forward to the Seymour Pink event this weekend, so I am looking forward to that. And I did want to thank Tim Willis for coming in, and all the town members that have been coming and presenting to the board on a periodic basis. I think that's been excellent to be able to hear it right from them and directly, where they are and their goals and their strategies and all that. I do appreciate that on a periodic basis. I'd like to keep that up if we can.
Yeah, the goal is every meeting or two to try to have somebody different. If there's a certain department head or someone you'd like to hear from, just let us know, and we can get that kind of set up. I would expect the beginning of December will be community services again, only because that'll probably be the presentation of the new newsletter, to give the board an opportunity to take a look at that. So we'll have Mary come and present that. I actually have a meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. to see the first draft of what it's going to look like. So I'm looking forward to that. But I want this board to be able to weigh in somewhat. I mean, we're not going to nitpick and micromanage it, but if there's certain things you want to see added in, maybe little tweaks and things, I want to give this board an opportunity to have that. So, but if there's other areas, please just let Rory know and we'll get it set up. So, Trish.
I just wanted to thank Chris for meeting with us last time and making the changes after having a discussion with the Board of Selectmen. I like someone that has an open mind and the ability to listen and take feedback and kind of think about it and make the appropriate changes as he sees fit with those comments. And just want to comment again about Tim Willis. I think all the employees in Town Hall work really hard, and I know it's really easy to get disillusioned after a while, but as people do leave, I just think it's incredibly important that we're looking for those same qualities Tim has to be, that enthusiasm, that sense of pride in work, that's what gets things done. And that is what I think the public would really like to see in our employees. And whether it's a matter of kind of helping employees who are currently here kind of see that type of mentality and how great it can be, not just for the public and for us, but for them to have that positivity. Or if it's new folks coming in, I just strongly feel that we're headed in the right direction, and we just need to keep going there, working with the current folks and making sure we're getting the right folks in. And so thank you to everybody. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trish.
Can I add one more thing quick?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, jump in. I just forgot something.
That's what happens
This-
as you get older.
Yes, this will be probably my last time reminding everyone how I feel about the WPCA not accepting online payments, because I just got my bill. So I'm pretty irritated still that there is no online payments. And I don't mean to direct this at any board members, but, I mean, it's 2019. It's pretty ridiculous. I may go pay in pennies, so we'll see. Thank you.
That'd be your prerogative.
Bitcoin. Those people have never heard of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, I don't know what that
They
is.
can't even take a debit card. Like, they've never
Stefan's
heard
got a
of Bitcoin.
sock with 72,000
I
pennies
agree.
in it.
I agree with you, Stefan, how's
Hey,
that?
Stefan, we had, about a month ago, we had initial conversations, Anne Marie, myself, Rich, and Ben Proto, who is the attorney for the WPCA, about the whole process and how we can change it. So I expect that we'll be seeing changes within the next year to that, with revamping of the entire process.
Until then, I hope they're very good at counting. Really irritating.
Was he mean to? We'll talk later, Stefan.
Pennies.
Yeah, he's gonna get a bag of pennies.
A bag of pennies.
That's gonna be fair. Can I come when you drop it off?
There's a meeting Monday,
Yeah.
here.
All right.
At-
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock, there's a meeting here,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
have at
I
it.
have a meeting here.
And there's a new chairman, too,
I
so.
have a meeting at 7, so
I
it'll be a
have a
warm-up.
slice.
That's what, yeah,
It'd be a warm-up.
it'll be a warm-up, yeah, one to the other. So, but all kidding aside, it's something that we're definitely looking at. I don't know how much we can say or should say, but,
I think it's premature
yeah.
until we get certain things
Yep.
But I think it'll be very positive.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. So any other comments? No? Stefan's only got 3 more meetings with us, so we give him as much time to speak as he wants. You're welcome. So, Rich, anything you'd like to add? Rory, anything we've missed? Monica, how about you? Anything you want to? How's your foot? Better? All right, good. That's excellent.
Congratulated to the boot.
That's right. He's moving on up. All right, so if nothing else, wow. Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Anne Marie. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 7-0. Mark the meeting closed at 7:56.